And it was done in the 12th year, in the 12th month, in the first day of the month, the word of the Lord was made to me. And he said, Thou, son of man, take wailing on Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and thou shalt say to him, Thou wert made like to a lion of heathen men, and to a dragon which is in the sea. And thou winnowest with horn in thy floods, and thou disturbest waters with thy feet, and defouledest the floods of those. Therefore the Lord God saith these things, I shall spread abroad my net on thee in the multitude of many peoples, and I shall draw thee out in my net, and I shall cast forth thee into earth. On the face of the field I shall cast thee away, and I shall make all the volatiles of heaven to dwell on thee. And I shall fill of thee the beasts of all earth, and I shall give thy fleshes on hills, and I shall fill thy little hills with thy roots, and I shall moist the earth with the stink of thy blood on mountains, and valleys shall be filled of thee. And when thou shalt be quenched, I shall cover heavens, and I shall make black the stars thereof. I shall cover the sun with a cloud, and the moon shall not give her light. I shall make all the light givers of heaven to mourn on thee, and I shall give darknesses on thy land, saith the Lord God. When thy wounded men shall fall down in the midst of earth, saith the Lord God, and I shall stir to wrath the heart of many peoples, when I shall bring in thy sorrow among folks, on lands which thou knowest not. And I shall make many peoples to wonder on thee, and the kings of them shall dread with full great horror, or hideousness on thee, for all thy wickednesses which thou wroughtest, when my sword shall begin to fly on the faces of them, and all men shall be astonished suddenly for their life, in the day of their falling. For the Lord God saith these things, The sword of the king of Babylon shall come to thee, in swords of strong men. I shall cast down thy multitude, all these folks that be not able to be overcome, and they shall waste the pride of Egypt, and the multitude thereof shall be destroyed. And I shall lose all the beasts thereof that were on full many waters, and the foot of a man shall no more trouble those waters, neither the claw of beast shall trouble those. Then I shall yield the waters of them cleanest, and I shall bring the floods of them as oil, saith the Lord God. When I shall give desolate the land of Egypt, forsooth, the land shall be forsaken of his fullness, and I shall smite all the dwellers thereof, and they shall know that I am the Lord. It is a wailing, and the daughters of heathen men shall bewail him on Egypt, and they shall bewail him on the multitude thereof, saith the Lord God. And it was done in the 12th year, in the 15th day of the month. The word of the Lord was made to me, and he said, Son of man, sing thou a song of wailing on the multitude of Egypt, and draw thou down it the same, and the daughters of strong heathen men, to the last land, with them that went down into the pit. Inasmuch as thou art fairer, go down, and sleep with uncircumcised men. In the midst of slain men, they shall fall down by sword. A sword is given, and they draw to it, and all the people thereof. The mightiest of strong men shall speak to him from the midst of hell, which with their helpers went down and slept uncircumcised and slain by sword, saying, There is Ashur and all his multitude. The sepulchres of them be in the compass of him, all slain men that fell down by sword, whose sepulchres be given in the last things of the pit, and the multitude of him is made there by the compass of his sepulchre, all slain men, and falling down by sword, which gave sometime their fearfulness in the land of living men. There is Elam, and all the multitude thereof by the compass of his sepulchre. All these were slain, and falling down by sword, that went down uncircumcised to the last land, which setted their dread in the land of living men, and bear their shame with them that go down into the pit. In the midst of slain men, they put it his bed, and all the peoples of him. His sepulchre is in the compass of him. All these were uncircumcised and slain by sword, for they gave dread in the land of living men, and bear their shame with them that go down into the pit. They be set in the midst of slain men. There be Meshech and Tubal, and all the multitude thereof. The sepulchres thereof be in the compass thereof. All these men uncircumcised were slain, and falling down by sword, for they gave their dread in the land of living men. And they shall not sleep with strong men, and falling down, and uncircumcised that went down into hell with their arms, and put their swords under their heads, and the wickednesses of them were in the bones of them, for they were made the dread of strong men in the land of living men. And thou therefore shalt be defiled in the midst of uncircumcised men, and shalt sleep with them that be slain with sword. There is Idumea, and the kings thereof, and all dukes thereof, that be given with their host, with men slain by sword, and which slept with uncircumcised men, and them that went down into the pit. There be all princes of the north, and all hunters, that were led forth with slain men, that be dreading and shamed in their strength, which slept uncircumcised with men and slain by sword, and bare their shame with them that went down into the pit. Pharaoh saw them, and was comforted on all his multitude that was slain by sword. And Pharaoh and all his host, saith the Lord God, bare their shame with them that went down into the pit. For he gave his dread in the land of living men. And Pharaoh and all his multitude slept in the midst of uncircumcised men, with men slain by sword, saith the Lord God.